Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gerry, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time, we're going to take a look here at Atari Force, number 10 from 1984 by DC Comics. This was written by Gerry, Conway, and penciled by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. And this is a little unusual. It is a media tie-in, being Atari Force. And for those who may not know, Atari is Atari Corporation, and it's from 84 to 96. It lasted before then and after that, but from 84 to 96, it was a third-party company for Nintendo, and led the video game market from the 70s to the 90s, inventing several gaming systems. And Atari now focuses on several businesses outside of video games. So they're not in the video game market. And Atari Force is the name of two comic series published from DC Comics from 82 to 86. They were loosely based on Atari Incorporated. It first appeared in Atari Force number 1 in 82, created by Gerry Conway and Roy Thomas. And it was originally presented as a mini-comics series packed with the Atari 2600 video games from Atari, which was a subsidiary of Warner Communications, who are the owners of DC Comics. The mini-comics were written by Thomas and Conway and drawn by Ross Andrew and Gil Kane and others. In 83, Atari Force was a special insert in two comic titles in the January issue. It was a prequel to the regular series. Then DC published the first in the DC comic graphic novel series, which was titled Star Raiders, which was an Atari Force story. And that was written by Elliot S. Magan and drawn by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Then from 84 to 85, that led to the regular series of 20 issues, which was written by Conway, and Garcia Lopez was the primary penciler for that. The Atari Force is a team of humans using the multidimensional starship Scanner 1 to search for a new planet to transplant humanity to because of ecological disasters on Earth. From what I gather, is primarily from a war. And the crew was picked by Atari, which was Advanced Technology and Research Institute. And this was a long, ongoing storyline, and to be perfectly honest, it's harder than hell to figure out what's going on in the story from this one book. This was number 10, halfway through the run. And here on the cover we see Blackjack is back, and boy is he in trouble. Take it from context. Blackjack is one of the regular characters who had apparently died in an earlier issue and then came back. It's not that he got better; it's that he didn't actually die. Now let's take a little look. Go through here. Now, one thing I I really like Garcia Lopez. He is a really wonderful artist. Nice, beautiful line work, good figure work, very consistent on the figures, and some great anatomy. I'm just going to go briefly because it makes too little sense. Most of the bulk of the book is exposition, which is told in flashback sequence, which the artist does a really fine job in making visually interesting. Blackjack appears on the ship. His girlfriend, one of the crew. That's a really nice drawing right there. And have all these other aliens. They've traveled through the multiverse, trying to find a home, and they did find a new home, transplanted everyone there. And here's on the ship Scanner 1, which was swiped by Martin Champion and his crew and of aliens, of misfits as they call him. His son pops back to Earth. He has because he was conceived in multidimensional space. He has the power to travel, to transport back and forth. Here's some really nice figure work on both of these figures, and it's a really cool looking robot here. And his former girlfriend calls the authorities on him because he is wanted right now for the theft of that ship. Then we go into here for a couple pages of exposition. The big bad is known as the Dark Destroyer, and looks like they're doing some mining in other parts of the multiverse. And that's all we see of them. Then back, it's really hard to follow because here we have the exposition. We tell with Blackjack telling how he survived from falling into whatever it was that he managed to save the ship from, but he was left behind and picked up by another giant ship. He never knew who had picked him up. He was thrown into the brig. He managed, after several weeks, he managed to escape the brig just in time to see his girlfriend and some of these aliens themselves escaping from the giant ship on a little scout ship in the midst of battle there. But he could not get to them. So while they're occupied with her, he stole his own ship, followed her to the Scanner 1. Then our boy Christopher Champion teleports himself to another friend. He's been bopping all over the planet, a spaceship, another friend of his father's. And this is where we get some more exposition, talking about the history of how the planet was Earth 2, whatever they called it, was discovered, had a battle, a big old war, peace came back, and then the authorities run in just because he was betrayed by his friend, because to the authorities. And this bad guy here, he looks a lot like a villain from the Flash Gordon comics. And that's it. It is really hard to tell what the hell is going on. Now, Gerry Conway is a fine writer. I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff that he's written. It's just that you can't just jump into this story and know what's going on. You probably have to start at the beginning. So, but I thought you might appreciate actually seeing a sample of Atari Force if you've never seen it, especially if you happen to be into some of the classic video games. The best part of the book is the great artwork by Garcia Lopez. And who did the inks? Get credits for the others. I think it shows it here. Yeah, as Ed Barretto did the inks, Tom Sutton the letters, Tom Zucco the colors, and Andy Helfer was the editor. And see, I like the looks. Some of the aliens and some of the ship designs actually reminds me of Gil Kane's work. And perhaps those were originally designed by Gil Kane. I don't know. But that's just what it reminds me of. And because it did say that Gil Kane worked on some of the earlier things. So that's all I've got for you this time with Atari Force. And I hope you enjoyed that. Getting a look at that little rarity. It's nothing spectacular as far as I'm concerned. If you had the whole thing, you might really enjoy it. I don't know. But do like, share, and subscribe. If you have other people who are interested in some of the classic Atari video games, well, share this with them. They might enjoy it. It might make sense to them. I don't know. And if you have any comments, like if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you like the artwork, if you have any questions for me, what have you, please let me know in the comments below. And remember, comics are art.